All right, last problem. So when I look here, it looks like this one. There's two of them. There's a minus in the middle. But the problem is I can't square root 3 and I can't square root 48. So I need to look to see if they have something the same. So the first group is 3 times 1, xx, minus. If I know that I'm trying to get 3 to go into it, I'm going to go 3, and I know that's 3 times 16. So now I circle, circle, whoosh it over. Now I'm left with 1. I don't want to put the 1. So I'm going to go x squared minus 16. So remember, in the last ones, and all these other ones, there was just left with an x. You're just left with an x, an x, an x, an x. But if you're left with an x squared, you've got to be paying attention and think that probably there's more to do. And actually, I'm going to do this in purple because when I look at this in isolation, this is a minus. There's 2 of them, and I can square root them. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. If I square root that x squared, I get an x. If I square root the 16, I get a 4. 1 gets a plus, 1 gets a minus. Don't forget to bring down the 3. Everything left is x. I'm good to go. I want to go over a couple more problems like that because I need to address a couple issues. So I'm going to make up a couple just in case you're good, that you need more help. And I think it would be good to see it. So if I had 3x cubed minus 7x squared plus 5, let's just take that example. If I look here, I want you to start to identify. Well, it's not the first one because the first one means it has to have a number in front. So then I look here and I go, okay, there's 3 of them, but it's got to go x squared x and then a number. So it's not that one. We know it's not 2 of them, and actually they have nothing the same. And I purposely did that because I think you might go, oh, this has an x and this has an x, but this does not. So it's not any of them, okay? But what I want you to see is what if I had this one? Okay? This one, they both have an x and they both have a y. So I would lay this out. More practice with GCF. And I actually don't need to write 4 times 1 because there's not even a number over here. 1x, 2 y's. X, x, y, y, x, y. Whoosh. Bring up the x minus 4y. So I'd be left with xy, x minus 4y. So just practicing with that. Let me do another one. If I had 16x squared minus 64x cubed, this is a hard one, okay? When I look here, you feel like it's square root because you can square root x squared. You feel like it's square root because you can square root 64, but you can't square root a cubed. So they have something the same. And you feel like it should be 8 times 2 because 8 goes into 64. But the problem is 16 times 1 is 64, and 16 times 4 is 64. So you always have to be careful about taking out the biggest. And then I go x, 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 x. So they have not only 1x the same, but they have 2x the same. Now I whoosh everything over. And remember before I said the 1 doesn't matter? Well, it doesn't matter when there's other things. But the problem is there is nothing else. So you've got to bring up the 1 in that case. Okay? If there are other things, you don't need it. If there's just a 1 left, you have to put 1 or you'll never get it back. Minus 4x. I'm left with an x. So let me move this up. It'll be 16x squared, 1 minus 4x. That's going to help you with your next homework assignment, or your homework assignment for this. So if you turn the page, this is your homework right here, okay? I want to hint you on this one. I want to look down at this one right here. So if you look at this one, and by that I didn't say what number, so number 21, it looks like difference of squares because you can square root both of them. But if you look, what's in the middle? It's a plus. And it doesn't cover any of them. They have nothing the same. There aren't 3 of them. So this would actually be NF, which stands for not factorable. And for right now, it's not factorable. Eventually it will be. But for right now, it's fine not factorable.